Well, for more on that, we're joined by Mona Shtea right now. She's an advocacy and digital communication expert and a non-resident fellow at the Tahrir Institute for Middle East Policy. She joins us live from Ramallah. So great to see you and thank you for your time. Now, there has been reports of certain algorithms boosting hate speech on social media in the midst of this ongoing conflict. How hard is it to get information that is not slanted or polarizing right now?
Thanks for your question and for having me here. So tech giants do not take protective measures to protect people, especially in times of crisis. Unfortunately, we've been witnessing incitement, hate speech, and violent speech against Palestinians on social media platforms for so long, and we've been demanding them to take protective measures. Unfortunately, they are relying on limited resources, civil society organizations, escalations, and reports to who are working to monitor hate speech, incitement, and violent speech against Palestinians. Then they are taking actions based on those escalations. And to be honest, this is really problematic, especially for people who are living under such crisis. Civil society organizations are limited resources organizations, and they have a lot much to do during the times during the crisis times, including raising people's awareness about disinformation, propaganda, and fake news, and incitement and hate speech spreading all over the networks. However, they are now monitoring and documenting hate speech against Palestinians on the social media platforms. That's why we should look at that and we should talk about that as an alarming thing. And social media platforms should invest more resources to protect its users all over the world, and more particularly in the global majority countries, such as Palestine, to protect its users, especially in times of crisis.
Mona, what are the dangers in manipulating the narrative? Do you believe it can impact outcomes on the ground?
Of course, whenever we are talking about digital rights, we are talking about the human rights, but on the digital spaces. So we are talking about a connected spaces between the offline and the online world. So as much as we're talking about narratives, then it reflects, or it should reflect what is happening on the ground. Whenever we are talking about the narratives, we can look at two different narratives now and on the social media platforms. One of those narratives is basically full of incitement, hate speech, violent speech spread all over the place, inciting violence against Palestinians, including pages of Israeli politicians who are spreading hate speech against Palestinians, labeling Palestinians, and normalizing violence against Palestinians. Some of this content is also justifying attack against civilians in Gaza Strip. Till now, we've heard about 1,000 people were killed in Gaza Strip, including 140 children there, and we can see content on social media platforms that is justifying this attack and this collective punishment against people in Gaza Strip. When I can give you an example on this, if you just open Netanyahu Facebook page or Twitter page, you can see some videos that is talking about this attack as powerful attack. They are praising violence and praising attack against Palestinians. And we're talking about here about a politician that basically the head of the state. So just imagine how other people could be also using that. Since the beginning of this year and previously, even since 2021 events, we've been witnessing incitement, hate speech, and violent speech. Also, groups on the messaging apps where Israeli settlers who are based in the illegal settlements in the West Bank are mobilizing and organizing themselves to attack Palestinians in different cities. At the beginning of this year, there was like a huge and massive attack on social media against Palestinians in different cities, including Hawara, where Israeli illegal settlers were burning the cities and were wiping out Hawara, as they are doing now with Gaza. So we can see how this insightful and hate speech is extended into a real world harm.
Okay, Mona, thank you so very much for your expertise in the area. Mona Shtay there, an advocacy and digital communication expert there, speaking to us from the Tahrir Institute for Middle East Policy.